You have chosen to participate in Family Cafe's Disability, Anger, and Hope presentation. I need just a couple of moments to sync the technology. While I'm doing that, if you have not downloaded the handout for the session, I would ask that you push pause now and go to the link where you found this presentation, and there should be a link for the presentation notes. Those notes include all the slides, all the information about resources that we mentioned, and also my contact information. So if you want to push pause now, go get that, and when you come back, we will be ready to go. Okay, we are back, and you should be able to see the slides. And let me just introduce again, this is the Family Cafe seminar on disability, anger, and hope. I thank you for joining this session. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jerry Borton. I work with an organization called Luke 14 Exchange. We strengthen families by coaching, mentoring, and encouragement. I was born with cerebral palsy and have worked in the fields of disability ministry and advocacy for the bulk of my career. I've also lived with a healthy amount, rather said unhealthy amount of anger throughout my life. A few years ago, a very good counselor took me through a resource that helped me sort through the anger I need to deal with. It's called the Anger Workbook. Don't worry about writing down the title because it's in the resources. If you are a member of Bookshare, this book, the Anger Workbook, is available as part of your membership. That's it. Let's dive in. So why a seminar on disability, anger, and hope? I've been asked numerous times, why are they so angry in reference to people with disabilities? John Maxwell, who is a business coach and leader, says hurting people hurt people. Why are they so angry? Because it hurts that much. There are several reasons why we, as a person with disability, might become angry. A while back, Dr. Wolfenberger identified 18 wounds that may be found in people affected by disability as a result of societal actions and attitudes. Again, here's the resource for that. If you go to this link, you'll find an article that explains these in more detail. Let me just go through a few of them quickly. First, I have a bodily impairment. There's a part of my body that no longer works or never worked or doesn't exist anymore. That bodily impairment leads to a functional impairment. Because of my cerebral palsy, I can't walk and use power wheelchair. The third wound is that we are delegated to lower societal status to the point of being considered deviant. I just need to say here that society's bandwidth for the definition of normal is very short. The fourth Um, sorry, you folks, some technology gremlins. Um, the fourth is an attitude of rejection or indifference from those not facing the same challenges of disability. Um, this means that our disability and the negative response we get from society feels relentless and pervasive. We're placed into one or more historic deviancy roles. Let me see if you've heard any of these phrases about you or somebody else you know with a disability. Non-human, pre-human, no longer human, subhuman, a menace, object of dread, waste material, garbage, excrement. We're not taken seriously, or you're an object of ridicule, object of pity, seen as sick or diseased, or assigned a death-related role. Already dead, good as dead, should be dead, should never have lived. Number 6, I'm given a label by a professional who, and then all the interactions that occur with me cascade out of that label, out of that characterization. Number 7, disability is thought to be responsible for something negative in society. For instance, in the early 1900s, it was believed that feeble-mindedness, read that disability, was responsible for crime, degeneracy, and disease. This led to mandatory sterilization laws. Number 8, distancing from other people, usually through segregation or congregation. Number 9, the loss of freely given relationships and substitution with professional ones. For most people, our closest relationships are family members and friends. For many of us with disability, our closest relationships are with our professional caregivers. Number 10, loss of control over one's own autonomy. In other words, I'm placed in settings that are described for my benefit that are actually administrative convenience. An example, I may not be able to go for a walk in my neighborhood on my own because there's no staff for that. Number 14, involuntary poverty. I may not have the opportunity to earn a competitive wage. Others may be considered my payee or financial guardian. Many government programs for services I may need are financially means tested, which means that in order to qualify, I have to subsist. I have to live on a subsistence level. 16, exclusion from knowledge and participation in high order value systems, for instance, religion. We can be deprived of the community and solace given by religious communities. Number 17, having one's life wasted. We are relegated to day programs or we're unable to get competitive employment and our talents and gifts are wasted. Uh, we don't have opportunity to use them. Finally, number 18, being an object of brutalization. A best example of this is the Holocaust in Germany. The first, depending on the reference, the first 50,000 to 250,000 people who were gassed in the concentration camps were people with disabilities. So as you can see, there are just lots of reasons why we're angry or we appear to be angry. The world seems to be, in many ways, working against us. And many of us react in a non-productive anger cycle. For instance, we receive a painful circumstance. We get the feeling that we're being objectified or devalued. We have an unmet need. We're not able to get into the building. We're not, any other number of needs, or there's an event that runs counter to our convictions. Best example, I get upset when somebody parks in a handicapped parking space and it looks like they really don't qualify to do that. So there's a painful circumstance. That painful circumstance is followed by an angry emotion, which leads to number 3, an effort to change the environment that is usually ineffective, yelling at the person who's parked in the handicapped parking space, that leads to resistance by others, which many times results in another painful circumstance. And the cycle goes on and on and on. Let me suggest to you that there are 5 ways to handle anger. The first is suppression. Somebody who's suppressing anger puts on a good front and pretends that they feel no tension. This may be because they have a history of being invalidated by others, and it's just easier to just stuff it or suppress it. Then there's open aggression. This is what we normally think of when we think of anger. There's an event which can lead to taking a self-preserving stand for personal worth, needs, or conviction, which is a good thing, but often it's done at someone else's expense. Often aggression rises from a focus that so strongly emphasizes personal needs. There's a powerful insensitivity to the needs of others. At its most worst, this could be narcissism. Number 3, passive aggression. This differs from open aggression in that it's done more quietly and with less vulnerability. Okay, sorry for the gremlin again with the slides. The 4th way we react to, or the 4th way to handle anger is assertiveness. We preserve our own personal feelings while considering the needs and feelings of others. We speak the message, but without the baggage. True assertiveness is not abrasive or meant to harm. We need to be able to say what we need to say, stand up for our convictions, um, stand up for ourselves or others in a way, in a tone that is doesn't elicit another angry outburst by the other person. Um, we need to speak the message without the baggage. Um, I've been told many times that it's not what you say, but how you say it. Um, Vocal tone can be difficult for some of us with cerebral palsy or other disabilities, but not impossible to control. And we may need to work on balancing our vocal tone. Fifth is sometimes the best way to deal with anger is to drop it. And this is the one that is the most difficult. Um, the hardest indignities to give up are the ones that are earned. You have been hurt, you have been ostracized, you have been whatever that makes you feel angry. But sometimes we need to accept the reality that some circumstances are completely out of our control. Um, Anger management, however, does not hinge on someone else's decision or belief or behavior. Persistent problems with anger. You've seen these various controlling behaviors: bossiness, criticism, cynicism, stubbornness, dogmatism. Um, these tend to build off each other. Maybe a bowl in a china shop with my thinking. People don't buy into it, which leads me to criticize them. It also leads me to be more stubborn and possibly at the end dogmatism or dogmatic. Dogmatism is all about me. My way is the right way. In fact, if I'm dogmatic, I believe that no normal thinking person would disagree with me. We need to exchange our control for freedom. Okay, we talked about that. I apologize. So, why does control occur? First, performance takes priority over relationships. When circumstances arise, we immediately address the performance, but not the emotion. Personal feelings are pushed aside. The result is one may feel like they're being controlled. This is not to say that performance is unimportant. This is all not to say that there are times when performance needs to be addressed. The building's burning. We need to do what it takes to get the people out. But if we only talk about the performance, but we don't talk about the emotion, walls build in our relationships. We not only have to deal with performance, we have to deal with our relationships. Number two, differentness is threatening. We desperately want our emotional and relational issues to be predictable. But that's not possible. By definition, difference denotes newness or uncharted waters. And the third way that control occurs is behavior is taught as mandatory, not a choice. I'll read out micromanagement. We all tend to resent being micromanaged, and although the controlling person may not consciously intend it to be the message, they convey that you are not trustworthy. Let's talk about some myths that perpetuate anger. Myth number one is my history of rejection leaves me emotionally depleted. The feeling is that no one will accept me, so I have a right to be angry. When rejections are repeated, hope fades and anger builds. We tend to color our relationships in the present and the future by our negative relationships in the past, and that likely may not be appropriate. We'll talk more about that later. Myth number two, God should have stopped my problems. Here's the thing, we tend to give God credit, or should I say discredit, for the actions of humans. From the beginning of our existence, God has respected free will. Another subset of this myth is the question of why. We don't have time to answer the why question. Why am I disabled? Why does pain exist? In this seminar, but I want to lead you to two books written by Philip Yancey. The first being Where's God When It Hurts? And the other, The Question That Won't Go Away. And those books are listed in the reference. Myth number three, letting go of my anger concedes defeat. There are times when we may need to drop the anger altogether, opting for forgiveness and acceptance. Wrongs will not always be righted in this world. Victimization causes people to conclude that forgiveness is unreasonable. But we need to ask ourselves the question, will my quality of life be greater if I choose to hang on to my anger, or I decide to let it go, to release it? I still dislike the wrongs that have suffered, but I choose to thrive in spite of them. Let me be clear. We have some degree of choice as to how long we will stay a victim. Holding on to our anger is like drinking the poison, hoping the other person dies. Again, holding on to anger is drinking the poison, hoping the other person dies. Myth number four, no one understands my unique situation. I really understand this one. There are many times I wished I knew of a therapist with a disability. But because I went to some really good counselors, they were able to see that my anger actually ran deeper than my disability. And although they might not understand every particular part of my circumstances, they were able to give me a framework for dealing with my anger and moving forward. Myth number 5, I don't deserve to be happy. And, you know, we've gotten the messages from our inner talk and the behaviors of people in society, and we conclude that those negative reactions and thoughts were accurate, therefore, I don't deserve to be happy. Or we see somebody who's worse off than ourselves, and we feel guilty that we're working on our happiness and emotional well being. The truth is, emotional well being and happiness should be the goal for any individual. And then myth number 6, there's nothing to look forward to anymore. We can be so tied to our anger that we falsely conclude that any attempts to trying to change, would only be futile. I need you to understand change, though difficult, is possible. There are ways that anger can sabotage our well being. The first is self inflicted anger. I have to tell you that a lot, and certainly not all of my anger has been self inflicted or is self inflicted. Anger has short circuited relationships with my wife, my family, my colleagues, sometimes even strangers. It's affected my career path. We need to understand that there's one person who can make the major difference in the quality of your life. That person is you. That person is me. One of the ways that all this anger can hurt us is through substance abuse. If that's you, if you're dealing with some sort of substance abuse or another type of abuse, after the seminar, or better yet, push pause to the seminar and contact your healthcare provider or your priest, rabbi, or pastor, or Google online. And there are a lot of resources out there. Get the help you need now. The third way that okay, we went backwards. Okay, the next one is workaholism. We believe that if I want it done right, I've got to do it myself. And that may be true sometimes, but working a 40-hour job, sometimes more than one job, advocating for yourself or someone else, medical appointments, therapy appointments, on and on and on, can lead to more anger. We need to find time, even if it's just for a few moments, for self-care. Remember when you get on an airplane, at the beginning of the flight, simulate the oxygen mask coming down, and they say, before you attempt to help others, you need to put on your own oxygen mask first. If we don't take care of ourselves, we have less energy for the people who need our care and advocacy. If you go down, the people who need your care also go down. The Mighty, which is an online disability community, just recently put out a list of 101 self-care ideas, and the link for that is in your resources. I just want to highlight three self-care ideas now. First is to dial down your expectations of yourself for this time. Because of everything we need to do, of the needs around us, we subconsciously, maybe even consciously, believe that we have to deal with this current situation perfectly. That's impossible over time. So give yourself some grace, dial down the expectations. Number two, breathe deeply in doubt. Number three, go outside, even if it's only for a couple of minutes. Those that study emotional IQ say that you can improve your emotional IQ to a high degree just by going outside for 20 minutes in the morning. If that's impossible, go outside in the afternoon. If it's impossible to go for 20 minutes, go for 10, go for 3, go for 1. If none of that's possible, spend some time by a window. Remember, one part or one function of your anger is to help you stand up for your perceived needs. You may work against yourself by ignoring your needs. And perhaps the most common type of anger associated with sabotage is envy, or believing that you have to have the same car, the same TV, go on the same vacation as your neighbor or your friends on Facebook. We need to understand that having stuff or doing stuff does not lead to a higher quality of life. The pictures may be showing that everything's great on Facebook, but the reality is the grass is rarely greener on the other side of the fence. Pride influences anger. Pride is more than just anger, is more than just arrogance or conceit. It is at the core of virtually every unhealthy, non-productive emotion or behavior. You can get a pretty good take or read on how strong your pride is by recognizing how much of your anger reflects self-preoccupation. Whether it's open aggression or passive aggression, your mind is focused on you, your rights, and your preferences. The antidote to humility is, or the antidote to pride is humility. Humility is others focused. It accepts limits. We understand that we have boundaries to the energy, the physical, emotional, and spiritual energy we have. So we cannot advocate for every position. We can't take care of every physical desire of those we help. There's some of our convictions that we're not going to be able to stand up for because of lack of energy. That's normal. Humility also helps us accept our differences and the differences of others. Once we're able to accept our limitations, our propensity to anger will change. We will speak assertively with the understanding that others may opt to disagree. Again, we're going to speak the truth, the message we need to tell without the load or the baggage. We can accept our circumstances for what they are, realizing that we'll never lead a problem-free life. I've heard it said that life gets less difficult when we stop believing it should be so easy. Our life gets less difficult when we understand, and let me try that one more time. Life becomes less demanding when we stop expecting it to be so easy. Easier, hard to say. Number 4, we will see our unhealthy anger for what it is, destructive both to ourselves and to others. Let's talk about fear's effect on anger. Fear makes us defensive. All of this. I have a colleague who says, it's impossible to be totally non-defensive, but we can manage our defensiveness. Okay, so 3 types. First is denial, and that's a refusal to acknowledge personal problems or tensions. Avoiding issues may be so central to the person's character that it occurs without even thinking. The inherent fear is that our humanness or vulnerability may be discovered and held against us. The third aspect of defensiveness is evasiveness. This is a direct, deliberate action to avoid responsibility or dealing with the problem head on. It denotes a lack of trust in others. And finally, reversal. Reversal is the belief that a good defense is a good offense. Somebody comes to you with a problem that they have with you. Rather than addressing the problem, we share a problem we have with them. The other person then counters with another version of their problem with you, usually in a tone of voice that's a little louder, back and forth, and we tend to escalate the issues, escalate the anger. If you've lived or worked with junior hires, you've seen this. The antidote to fear is authenticity, to live with as much as possible without pretense. There's research out there in the business world that suggests that what employees want out of their supervisors, out of the owner of the company is authenticity. And the more authentic people are, the more people that want to follow them and are drawn to them. The same thing can be true of us. All of us have some internal values in life. All of us struggle at times with living up to those ideals. The more authentic we are, the more those two come together. And then we're able to accept ourselves for who we are and greatly valuable, flawed people. we can actually, when we struggle with fear, we can overinterpret rejections. It's easy to carry our history of rejection into future relationships without giving someone the benefit of the doubt. Again, as I said before, we see our current relationships and our expectation of future relationships based on the negative experiences we've had in the past. This also is because, along with that, is we're uncertain of other people's motives. When we overinterpret rejection or worry too much about others' motives, we give other people too much power. And we also may be saying internally, I can't trust myself. Loneliness creates anger. The Old Testament says it's not good to be alone. When I feel lonely, I need to ask myself if I have any habits or tendencies that keep me in an unwanted pit of isolation. I just want to throw in here that solitude and loneliness are not the same thing. Solitude is a plain time alone for a specific purpose and has an end point. Solitude is something we pursue and it brings self-awareness and well-being. Loneliness hang on here. Okay, loneliness, however, is the emotion of isolation. Loneliness is based when we believe or sense that other people care little about our personal needs and desires. Successful anger management requires a willingness to come out of our shells and be known. Sometimes we're lonely because we neglect relationships. Let me go back to the Mighty's list of 101 self-care ideas and suggest 3 to you. There are lots more there. Attend a group meeting where support is offered. Go out in public and be around others, even if you don't interact much. Go to a church or religious service. These things may not immediately end your loneliness because there's always times we're going to feel lonely, but if you do them or other ideas over time, you begin to build bridges that lead to positive, healthy relationships. Anger sometimes can reflect inferiority feelings. Everyone feels inferior at times. It seems there's always somebody faster, better, smarter than we are. So it's easy to fall into the trap of inferiority. The first is to just succumb to the feeling of superiority. We struggle with shame over being mere mortal. We're not the super crip we or others expect us to be. Or we fall into the trap of feeling falsely superior. superior. It's exhausting to be someone you're not. Exhaustion can lead to anger, and it's impossible to compare our humanness to the humanness of others because we don't have the same playing field. Essentially, all humans are the same in that we are equal in both our intrinsic worth and our propensity toward imperfection. In other words, we are both valued beyond measure and flawed, both at the same time. How about some ideas for accountability? One of them is to set goals to be more relational. Anger repels and prohibits relationship. Anger keeps us focused on self. Having a goal to be more relational can build bridges. We want to be the person who finds the good in others. We want to be the person who's seen as patient. We want to set the example for accepting others' imperfections and for them to accept mine. Another goal may be to make amends. Knowing we've hurt someone, going to them to ask forgiveness, eye to eye, face to face, voice to voice. We need to make amends where possible. And it may not always be possible. Either the person is no longer alive or we have no way to contact them, or it may just be unsafe and more hurtful for that individual or for me to directly make amends. In a case like that, write a letter, but don't send it. In the case of that, create a piece of art that you don't show them that reminds you of the attempt to make amends and the releasing of the anger. Make amends where possible. A third goal might be to choose to be positive in our communication, starting with your own self-talk, your inner voice. I've seen studies that suggest that between 70 to as much as 90% of our self-talk is negative. The problem with that negative self-talk or inside voice is that it splashes over into our outside voice and affects the way we see ourselves or others. Fourth goal is to be more authentic. Authenticity means that we're honest, we're open, and we talk about what we need to talk about what's going on. In practicing the authenticity muscle, bridges start to build. As scripture says, we learn to bear one another's burdens. We talked a lot about anger. Let's talk a little bit about hope. Emotional health breeds hope. You may have seen the movie The Shawshank Redemption. Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. So you may get busy, so you better get busy living or get busy dying. If you've not seen the movie, check that movie out. Hope is, like anger, is infectious. Hope leads to grace, which is undeserved favor for ourselves, others. Hope also breeds more hope and more energy. Hope allows us to see past or beyond our circumstances. Can I just share with you a faith story? Um, from a Christian worldview, there will be a time when wrongs are righted. Justice and mercy will coexist. It didn't happen yesterday. It may not happen today. It might not even happen tomorrow. But until that day, we hope. Hope begins when we understand that we can truly change. We make the decision to hope. Um, just the last two slides. Here are the recommended resources. If you're not able to get the handout, I'll give you a couple of moments to write down a couple of these. And then here also is my contact information. The downside of doing this seminar virtually is that we don't have the opportunity to interact. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about what was said or what you think should have been said. Want to have that conversation. I'm going to unshare my screen, and I have one more story that I want to share with you. Hang on a second here. All right, not quite sure why this is happening, but let me share that story. A farmer had only one horse. One day his horse ran away. His neighbor said, "I'm so sorry. This is such bad news. You must be upset." The man just said, "We'll see." A few days later, his horse came back with 20 wild horses following. The man and his son corralled all 21 horses. His neighbor said, "Congratulations. This is such good news. You must be so happy." The man just said, "We'll see." One of the wild horses kicked the man's son, breaking both of his legs. His neighbor said, "I'm so sorry. This is such bad news. You must be so upset." Again, the man said, "We'll see." The country went to war. Every able-bodied young man was drafted. The war was terrible, and all the young men were killed. But the farmer's son was spared since his broken legs prevented him from being drafted. His neighbor said, "Congratulations. You must be so happy." The farmer said, "We'll see." So what's up with this crazy farmer, right? By the way, this is taken out of the book You Are Awesome, also in the notes. So what's up with the crazy farmer? Well, what's up with the crazy farmer is that he's truly developed a way to steady his emotions. He's ready, and whatever the future brings, we all know he's going to stare it down, stare it down, and scream, "Bring it on." The farmers come to understand that every skyrocketing pleasure or stomach churning defeat defines not who he is, but where he is. The farmer knows that what happens in life only serves to help him see where he is and decide where to go next. The farmer knows that every end, every circumstance is is a beginning. Thank you for allowing me to share with you today. Again, let's keep the conversations going, and hopefully we'll be able to be in touch soon.